It's been certainly a tough season for us this year, which we always knew was going to happen. We've been competing in Premier Leagues again for the second year in a row. Whilst the results haven't necessarily gone our way this season, there have been some performances in there. We've had a few young players come through who are going to really drive the club on forward in the future. And there's a few results out there that we know the performance was good enough for us to get the victory, and we just didn't quite get there in the end.
Well, so we've got our third team and second team playing on Saturday. First team kicking off on Sunday, so this kind of closing ceremony type thing, about 4 o'clock on the 22 acres pitch 1.
I wouldn't say necessarily adds pressure to us. I think it's more we have a few days to kind of build the excitement towards being the last game. So the main kind of challenge for us is sort of control those emotions. It's going to be very difficult, I think, for some of us watching all the other sports, seeing York get other wins. There's going to be that real desire just to get out on the pitch. So I think it's less maybe pressure for us. I think it's more we're going to have to control those emotions, that excitement going into the game. So we've been training for the past 2 weeks. The way we sort of like to train is we build up to kind of high intensity, and when we come into the match week, we sort of taper down. So we'll have our last training session this afternoon, and then we'll have one run-through session where the specific teams will be running together, going through all the things you're going to do on a match day. But we very much like to approach that game day, as I said, tapering down, lowering the intensity a little bit, so the guys are really ready and getting their minds focused for their games on the Saturday and the Sunday.
I do exactly the same thing for every single game that I go into play. So I try and eat the same thing. I kind of get up at the same time, and it's just, I don't know whether it's sort of superstition. It's just kind of like I get quite nervous about playing in a big game, so I just quite like sort of to know what I'm doing at every stage. So that kind of like calms me down a little bit. You know, we're pretty familiar with Lancaster. We don't play in the same league as them. We know they had a pretty tough season in the league below us. I think they're going to be going down from the league below us this year. From what I understand, their team's changed an awful lot from the team that we played last year away at Lancaster, and they definitely gave us a good game. So you know, it's an absolutely fantastic opportunity to sort of see the York first team. A lot of the boys that we've got on the side, this will be their last game in York colours. You know, there's a great opportunity to see some sort of up-and-coming talent. You know, Tom mentioned earlier we've had a lot of young players that come into the squad and made a big difference. It's a good chance to sort of see that. You know, the rugby's always had a great atmosphere at Rose. It's always been sort of you know, one of the highlights of the competition, and sort of, you know, if nothing else, you know, you should get down, sort of you know, really kind of put in a good show for York against I'm sure Lancaster will have some good support down as well. I'm quite excited for the opening night. It's a bit different to how it normally is in the past. I'm quite excited to see how sort of the fight night goes down. I know in my past Rose experience, it's normally kind of the smaller sports that actually can be really good at Roses. So I know 2 years ago the darts was always a good one to go down and watch. Had a great atmosphere. Even things like this, as I said, kind of the smaller sports that don't get a lot of press throughout the season, and you can kind of have your Roses heroes in a way. And I'm just hoping for a few surprises this year, like the basketball did. I think it was last year, causing a massive upset. So it's kind of those sort of smaller sports getting more of a crowd, getting more of a bigger exposure, which I think is one of the great things about Roses. So I'll be checking out a few of the smaller sports, I think.